Hey everybody, today in the channel we're reviewing the Black Series Archive Biker Scout. I picked this guy up on Mercari a few weeks ago loose, so it saves me the trouble of opening him up. I'm aware that there's many different versions of this guy, so I used JediBusiness.com as a guide to identify which one he was. His initial release was in 2014 as a deluxe pack with the speeder bike, and later released on his own in 2019. Another version was released as a deluxe pack with a white speeder bike for the Mandalorian. Each version is almost identical, but there was one indicator that tipped me off that he was from the Archive wave. That was the amount of dirt that was painted on his boots. The deluxe version of the Scout Trooper is only painted up to his ankle. The Archive wave improved on this paint job and detailed all the way up to his boot, so the weathering looked consistent with his knees. I passed up on the Scout for the Boba Fett re-release when these were in stores, so it's nice to finally have him. He came in the mail the same day I received my Slave Leia figure, and I thought there might have been something off because the Biker Scout towered over Leia. I decided to bust out a few figures from my collection and compare their height with the Biker Scout. Since I knew Ezra was a kid and fairly short, I stood him next to the Scout and worked my way up to Luke, and eventually Boba Fett. I guess in reality it's Slave Leia that's much shorter than any other figure in the Black Series line. Anyway, let's take a look at his mobility. I noticed that his head movement is a little restricted. Maybe the helmet is a little too bulky for the ball joint. His elbow has a double joint that doesn't look awkward, it just makes it a little harder to position his arms. You can even fold his arm all the way to the shoulder, which is unnecessary. I'm not a fan of the articulation in his arms. It just makes his arms look way too long. Most Black Series figures have a double knee, which is common and helps position him into a sitting configuration. I'm guessing with all the articulation in his arms and legs, it was designed for him to sit on the speeder bike. Regardless, the figure displays well and his articulation doesn't restrict him from being able to play with him. He also comes with the Scout Blaster that fits nicely into his hand. And if he was on the speeder bike, you can place his blaster into the leg holster. I have no regrets with this purchase. Very cool looking figure, and I'm glad to finally have it. That'll do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you won't miss out on future videos. See you next week for another exciting toy review.